you have this Joseph Kabila. Okay, Joseph Kabila Kabanji. He is the president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Democratic Republic. Now, there's two different Congos. There's a Democratic Republic of the Congo, and then there's just the Republic of the Congo. So just the Republic and the Democratic Republic. Those are the two different ones. The Democratic Republic is the one more on the south side, southeast, and it's the bigger chunk. It's, it's like the Congo, right? Whereas the Republic of Congo is more like, it's a little Congo. And it's separated by the Congo River, mostly. So that on the northwest of the Congo River is the Republic of the Congo, and that to the southeast is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We're talking about the Democratic Republic. Okay? All this is about the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Alright. So, Kabila, he was elected president in 2006. In 2011, he was reelected for a second term. Right? So, that's 5 years, 2016. His term was due to expire at the end of 2016. December 20th, 2016, per the Constitution, which was adopted in 2006, the same year he was elected president. Officials suggested that elections would be held in November 2016. However, September 29th, the nation's electoral authority announced the election would not be held until early 2018. So he's going to keep, power for another year. I was going to, listen. What happened to the election? No more elections? So it says, since coming to power, Joseph Kabila has faced continuous wars in eastern Congo, and internal rebel forces supported by neighboring governments of Uganda and Rwanda. Remember the genocide in Rwanda? Uganda, that's Kony. That's where Kony is, the Lord's Resistance Army, with that big video that came out. Alright, so that's some background. Africa, of course, has lots of issues, lots of problems. There's starvation, there's AIDS, there's malaria. 20 million Africans are starving right now. There's a huge drought that's sweeping the eastern part, the Horn or whatever, where Somalia is. So you had Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and then also Yemen and Nigeria. And there are 20 million Africans. 20 million Africans are starving to death right now. There's a humanitarian crisis going on right now. So a lot of these conflicts are being fueled by the Africans' lack of water. They don't have any drinking water. So it's crazy. There's some crazy shit that's going on right now. So I think the United States, when it comes to the 33 wars that we're in Africa, I'm like, which countries are they? I know Sudan, Somalia, we, fuck with Libya, and so those are, all African nations, but where else? Where else? That's another, from 20 to 33 shadow wars. So that's at least, 17 to 30 more wars. Maybe Congo, because we're fucking with Congo right now. So we're already in the Philippines and everywhere. Fuck. We're all over the fucking place. So June 5th, 2017, this month, the murders of Michael J. Sharp, an American citizen, and Zeta Catalan, who's a dual citizen of Chile and Sweden, happened in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, they were two investigative reporters that were appointed by the Security Council of the United Nations. And they were appointed by the Security Council to an independent panel of experts to investigate atrocities in the vast conflict-scarred country. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres confirmed that the remains of the two investigators missing since March 12th were found in the Congo, and that the world body would conduct an inquiry. So they found the two investigators, and then they also, don't forget, the Congolese interpreter. The third body in the grave was their Congolese interpreter. Spent all those years learning English, or maybe English or Swedish, I don't know. But he's the interpreter, right? So he knew several languages. All those years studying language, what's it take? 1, 2, 3 years to study and get, speak a language fluently. So Kamuna Nisapa, I don't know. Some kind of militants. They pose an increasingly serious threat to President Joseph Kabila. And now that he's extending his term, he actually gives all those, rebels and internal fuckers some legitimacy, right? He's extending his thing. He's not democratically elected. He's a fucking dictator. He says, this is my power. I'm staying here. I'm staying put. So they said his decision to stay beyond the elected mandate has sent ripples of unrest across the vast mining powerhouse. Right? Lots of mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. UN figures indicate that over 400 people have been killed in violence in which militants have been blamed for atrocities, and government forces are accused of targeting civilians. So they're saying militants are killing the people, the government's killing the people. Local officials said on Saturday militiamen decapitated about 40 police officers in the deadliest attack on the security forces since the uprising began last year. So Saturday. This is a June article. So this just happened. Along with the Congolese interpreter, they traveled to a part of Kasai Central Province to investigate a new rebellion that had saturated the area with suspected mass graves. Their own bodies were found in a shallow grave. 2 weeks later, Zeta Catalan was decapitated. So I think the U.S. wants regime change in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I believe, I don't know, I was getting confused between the two different Congos. So Obama was wanting regime change in one of the Congos, and anything, any militarism that Obama showed, Donald Trump is just going to expand and double it, right? So Congo President Joseph Kabila was in power since 2001. So that's interesting. He got elected in 2006, but he's actually been in power since 2001, and he refused to step down after his mandate expired. So under a deal struck with his opponents, an election must take place by the end of 2017, but the process remains stalled due to delays registering voters. Security forces killed dozens of protesters during an anti-Kabila demonstrations in 2016, raising fears of a slide back towards civil wars of the turn of the century that cost millions of lives. Last year, the U.S. sanctioned 5 Congolese officials for alleged human rights violations, including the head of national intelligence and the then interior minister. So we're sanctioning 5 Congolese officials. So that was last year, okay? In the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, the president, is following in the recent footsteps of his neighbors. You had Pierre Nkurunziza in Burundi, Denis Sassou Nguesso in the Republic of Congo, Paul Kagame in Rwanda, and manipulating laws and technicalities to extend his time in the presidential palace. Apparently there are human rights abuses being carried out by armed groups and by the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, against the Congolese people. And you had Stephanie Dujarric, a spokesman for Mr. Guterres, the UN secretary, said that the Secretary General cannot appoint a criminal investigation without authorization from an intergovernmental body like the Security Council. So the UN secretary can't do shit until the Security Council, which is the fucking big 5, France, England, Russia, China, and the US. And so unless all 5 of those countries say that it's okay to go into Congo, then Donald Trump is probably just going to do it on his own, right? He's just... So Gecko Mines, this is some shady dealings with Kabila. The Democratic Republic, the state-owned mining company, Gecko Mines, had signed away the royalties on its most lucrative mine to an offshore company. So that's fucked up, right? Selling state assets to privatized corporations. So that means all that money doesn't go to the Congo. It goes to some private individual. The deal was concluded last year in secret and is worth in the region of $880 million over the deal's 25-year lifespan. It is unclear what, if anything, was received by Gecko Mines in return. So that deal was really good for, who is it? Dan Gertler. Okay, so apparently Dan Gertler is a shady figure. He's a close friend of Kabila's who has been repeatedly linked with massive corruption in the DRC. Most recently, a U.S. Justice Department investigation found that Gertler paid $100 million in bribes to DRC officials, including President Kabila. So the U.S. Justice Department, I don't know how they found that out, but $100 million in bribes in order to get an $880 million deal. So even though he paid a shit ton of fucking money, he's going to make a shit ton of money. This Dan Gertler. And they said it was on behalf of a U.S. hedge fund. So in case you didn't understand what I was saying, the president of one of the poorest countries in the entire world just gave his buddy nearly $1 billion worth of mining royalties. So it's outrageous that the state miner Gecko Mines has signed away rights to huge sums of money that should go towards building Congo's future. It's even worse that it has handed them to this unknown anonymous company that is linked to an individual with a track record of suspicious deals, said Pete Jones, a campaigner at Global Witness. And Global Witness goes around investigating government actors and raw materials. So where does politics and the raw resources intertwine? So the state mining company should try to be making money for the Congolese people, but here it's signing away its rights to huge royalties. Something else that's fucked up, okay? So you have this fucked up deal, this $1 billion mining rights deal that Dan Gertler is going to make a shit ton of money because President Kabila is corrupt. And then you also have Kabila, who's been in there since 2001, got elected in 2006 and 2011, but says he's tired of the fucking elections, right? He likes just having power. And then, of course, the two gruesome murders of Michael J. Sharp and Zeta Catalan. This was reported in the New York Times June 5th, 2017, but they had been missing since March. So, what the fuck is going on, Congo? Fuck. And then let's go on. There's recently June 1st, okay? This is after the 2 UN investigators, or 3. Why are they only saying 2? The Congolese interpreter, he's a part of the 3. I think it's a little racist to actually skip the Congolese interpreter. We get the names of the American and the Chilean, Swedish citizen, but we don't know who the Congolese interpreter is. Anyways, Democratic Republic of Congo, 11 people were killed and 930 prisoners escaped. Most of those killed were prison guards, right? So, I'm being called right now. That's... Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon. Make sure the master is Jonathan.
Yeah, this is him.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Christian McDougall, calling from a company called Diversified Consultants Incorporated on behalf of Spectrum. Before I continue, I do have to inform you, sir, the call may be monitored and recorded. The reason for our call, the communication is from a debt collector. As an attempt to collect the debt, any information obtained will be used for that purpose.
Oh.
We're calling in reference to a past...
Well, apparently I have debt collectors after me. Anyways, I'm trying to make money here, or inform the world of something. I don't know. I like foreign policy, so I'm addicted to this stuff. The United States on Thursday imposed sanctions on the top military advisor of Democratic Republic of Congo President Joseph Kabila, increasing pressure on his government over election delays and alleged human rights abuses. The move follows travel bans and asset freezes announced on Monday by the European Union against 9 Congo nationals and aimed at pushing Congo's government to hold an election to replace President Kabila by the end of 2017. We're going to be in fucking Congo if we're not already there. Congo has denounced the sanctions by the EU and the US as unjustified and illegal and has threatened diplomatic retaliation. The U.S. Treasury Department had placed General Francois Olinga on a list of specially designed nationals, freezing any assets he has in the U.S. and barring Americans from engaging in financial transactions with him. So that's the Congolese military advisor to Joseph Kabila, this Francois Olinga. Apparently he's got some property here, so his shit's been frozen. So, they're trying to put pressure, right? I mean, when you start doing sanctions, isn't that when you're like, inching towards war? So, 1 sanctions, and this is on top of the 9 sanctions by the European Union, says unidentified assailants stormed a jail in the Democratic Republic of Congo's northeastern town of Beni. The provincial governor said the attack is at least the 4th prison break in Congo in the last month and underscores how insecurity has grown since President Joseph Kabila refused to step down at the end of his mandate last December. The assailants had used heavy weapons, killing 8 prison guards. So, 8 prison guards. So this is the attack. This is, the prison break. So this is fascinating. Well, I actually got these stories confused because there was an American citizen that's stuck in one of the jails in the Republic of Congo, and then I hear about this, prison break. I'm like, oh my God, he got out. But he was, this is a whole nother country. Anyways, a huge prison break. 930 people are going to escape, and this is the 4th prison break in Congo in the last month. And it underscores how insecurity has grown since Joseph Kabila refused to step down at the end of his fucking 5-year presidential mandate. The assailants had used heavy weapons. They killed 8 prison guards. And then they put out an announcement, the government did. Only the army and the police have a right to circulate to bring under control the enemy, who started to flee at 3:30 p.m. About 30 prisoners remain inside the facility, and a curfew is now in place in Beni and surrounding areas. So 30 prisoners are still in the facility. 30 of them are still in the facility. That sucks. 930 of them got away, so only 30 of them were either just the Uncle Toms. They're the house slaves. No, Massa, I won't ever go. I'll stay right here exactly as I'm supposed to be. This is where you want me to be, Massa. I'll stay right here. The other were like, fuck this shit, Teddy Catalicco, a local activist, said it was not clear who had carried out the attack because many self-defense militias known as Mai groups operated around midnight. Around 4,000 inmates escaped the capital Kinshasa's main the highest security prison last month after an attack blamed on a separatist sect, and at least 3 more escaped from another jail in the Kinshasa. Kinshasa is the capital of the Democratic Republic on Saturday, the police said. So the capital, the main high security prison, 4,000 inmates are running out. Who the fuck were these people? Were they all political prisoners, or do we have a bunch of murderers and rapists running all over the countryside? You have 930 that just ran, 4,000 that just ran all over the place. You got, if you don't see a fucking civil war here that's brewing, I don't know who the factions are or what the fuck is going on, but you have got to step down. You've got to have elections. Who the fuck is this guy? That's the reason why you have all the shit that's happening. Have peaceful elections. Somebody else is going to be reelected, or you'll be elected. Hell, if you want to fucking try to run again. I don't know if the Constitution allows it. You've already done 2 terms. Usually, our presidential elections have, term limits, but there's a lot of positions that don't have term limits. Senators, congressmen, they can be fucking politicians till, for the rest of their life. So a lot of shit that's going on, right? 930 prisoners have escaped. You have the President Kabila, who's, got this mining company, sold all the mining rights to one of their biggest mines to Dan Gertler, so $1 billion deal. And apparently there was, information that had been found out that he was bribing officials, including Kabila, and he's been in power since 2001. He refused to step down, December 2016. If you believe the 2001 number, that means he's been in there for 15, 16 years. I mean, that's way longer than 8 years, right? So on top of, all that, you got the 2 reporters. So the United Nations, this is what military organizations do all the time. If there's a hostage situation, right, and they, got a building, and the mayor of a city says, okay, we're going to send a negotiator and see what happens, and then they shoot the negotiator, you're like, okay, now it's fucking war, right? That's fucking war. It'd be, I would be surprised if the Security Council didn't. That sucks for those 3 people that, thought that they had the backing of the United Nations, but they go there and get their fucking heads chopped off. So I think we should talk about Michael J. Sharp and Zeta Catalin. People always want to say, we don't want to, talk about murderers because, these are names of people that we should remember. Michael J. Sharp. Remember Benghazi, right? There's several people, the ambassador, U.S. ambassador, and, a dozen people or so that was killed there. Well, here's Michael J. Sharp, an American citizen, Zeta Catalin, and then there was the unnamed Congolese interpreter. So they sent out the people, they got shot and killed, and Sweden isn't saying shit about shit. They're saying it's all in the UN, but the Secretary of the UN says they can't do shit unless the Security Council says something about it. So I don't see why he wouldn't be pushing for it. That was as Guterres, whatever his name is, the UN Secretary. Why wouldn't he push for that? Well, he should make a big ass fucking deal about this. And then there's lots of shit that's going on throughout all these countries, but lots of Burundi and the Republic of Congo and Rwanda. The presidents or the leaders of all these countries are manipulating laws and technicalities to extend their time in the presidential palace. They're all doing the same shit. Pierre Dennis, and Paul. They have easy first names to read. Okay, so yeah, that's what's happening in the Congo. I do expect some bullshit to happen, and maybe I could have talked to that person. The only thing debt I could think about that I owed was the hospital thing, but that was because I had my previous state's insurance, and now I don't know. I can't afford it anyway, so what the fuck? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Huh? I guess I have to declare bankruptcy now or some shit. Ugh, fuck. Anyways. Bye.